can make a t-shirt, sell it online, potentially make money from it, or even print them out and sell them here on the yard.
Your local hub, like your local store. So are all of your designs or whatever being generated to like one store for sale, or you have multiple stores open?
What I would do, and even there's fulfillment platforms like Printful. Even I believe Canva may have like a t-shirt fulfillment feature, but you can use platforms like Printful. I use that a lot for stuff that I make, because you can upload your own images or an image you create, and Printful will do all the shipping. It'll do the printing and shipping for you. They just take a cut of whatever you sell. So I think Printful, I forgot the percentage breakdown, but it tends to be, at least if I'm doing a t-shirt, it tends to be like the shirt's $4 or $5, and then there's a charge for them generating or creating the t-shirt and printing it out. So I think it tends to be about $10 to $12 per shirt, and then you upsell it for you sell it for $25, $30, so you make the $15 difference. So Printful is like one of those platforms where you can connect it to a Shopify store. And so if you wanted to create your own store of your own t-shirt designs, you could create a Shopify store, use Printful to actually do all the fulfillment. You create your designs with Midjourney, and now you have your own t-shirt company. No designers, no warehouse, and your work is maybe using ChatGPT to create ads, or to create Facebook ads or social media reels. So you can become your own company in so many ways now with using generative AI that you couldn't before. So that's the really interesting part about the way this whole technology is moving. All right, any questions? Anything hopefully let's see. Gosh. So the internet's not participating, but that's fine. We'll go back here. I think we're doing pretty good on time. I wanted to leave you with this one prompt here that's pretty helpful. The one thing about ChatGPT or any of these general tools, garbage in, garbage out. But if you put good in, you get good out. And so there's a couple of really useful ways to look at all these general tools, particularly ones that are text-based, is you want to tell it to pretend a role play. So before you ask it to do something, say you want to create a social media post. As a social media expert, I want you to come up with unique and genuine ideas to accomplish this goal. So it's really helpful to say what the goal is. Like, I want you to help me get 100 new followers. And so then it helps it kind of understand what bucket of information it's pulling from. So maybe it's pulling from like growth strategies that's found online for social media marketers. So that helps it understand the context of what you want it to generate. Then from there, you give it constraints. So I want you to create Twitter posts that are no more than 250 characters long. I want it to be in a style of a certain writer. You can maybe even reference another social media expert who writes in a style that you like. And the more specific you get, the better the quality of what you get out of it. And so one thing you can also do is you can have particular ChatGPT interview you to get better outputs. And so that's what this prompt is actually for, is to tell ChatGPT to pretend to be a role, and then to ask you questions to have it perform and get more information out for you. So you can say, as an expert prompt engineer or robot, I want you to ask me my goals and objectives until you feel confident enough to execute generating a prompt that I can enter back in to be able to get the results I want. So it will keep asking you questions over and over and over again until it feels like it has enough information to create the prompt. And then once it gives you the prompt, you can just cut and paste and make any changes, but you're going to get a much higher quality output because now it's actually trained itself on what you're looking for.
So is that just for like a new chat, or is that saving it in its total capacity as your user? Like, you downloaded the app, you're now a user. So does it save it for each new chat you're opening, or just will it save that chat alone?
It's only in that chat, so it only has memory in each. Yes.
Right.
Exactly. So here on the here on the left, each one of these messaging windows, it has memory and knowledge of all the past messages and information exchanged within that thread history.
Within, yeah, each one, right? Not total.
Exactly. It will only be within each one. So that's actually really helpful. So it's not mixing together multiple different conversations. It's only remembering the things that you messaged in the past. Just an honest hack that I do, particularly because I'm always responding to proposals. I do a hack where I'll cut and paste my resume into one chat. I'll tell it to review my resume and just acknowledge by putting done. So I'll copy and paste my resume. It will print out done, saying that it's kind of learned my resume. Then I'm like, hey, now that you learned my resume, here's a request I've gotten from a new client. Respond and generate a proposal using my resume and my experience, and highlight the objectives of what we'll do. And I'll actually put in, here's a link to our website. So it's going to learn all the things about our business. Here's all the service we do. I'll just cut and paste all those things and train it on all these things and just say, don't do anything with this information, just learn it and store it to memory. Now that you've learned all these things, now act on the information I've given you. And so now I can tell it to create proposals, I can tell it to create sales emails, now that I've given it all this information inside of one thread.
So, quick question. Is your, so for you to do what you just mentioned about cutting and paste and learning all that, do you require, is it going to be a different ChatGPT platform or the same ChatGPT platform that we are using?
Yeah, so everyone uses, if you're using this version ChatGPT, everyone's using GTP 3.5 Turbo. If you upgrade to their paid plan, you get access to GTP 4, which is stylistically, in terms of writing style, better, or measurably better. So if you are using it to create content, which I do a lot of, I paid the $20 for the higher quality in terms of writing. But there's also a lot of other tools that do really good job of generating written text. And I use them in combination because ChatGPT, after a while, you can start picking up on its writing style. So those who look at this stuff all day, you're like, oh, that's ChatGPT. So I use another platform called Quillbot, which takes text and it actually humanizes it even more. And it'll look for synonyms and other things you can actually tell it different writing styles, and actually as it creates the outputs, you can pick the words or phrases you want it to reword or humanize a little bit more and make it less robotic. So those are, if I'm looking to write a sales letter, I'll probably use two different platforms, ChatGPT for structure and speed, but then I'll take it into another platform that creates a more human response, or one where I can kind of tweak the outputs to be matched stylistically more of what I want. Or the other option is, if you have your own writing style, you can train ChatGPT to review your writing style and write in your form of your own writing. So that's another way. You can give it a bunch of your documents and say, here, review all the documents I've written. Now write all the things you create in the style that I write in. So that's another way to also do that.
Try it and then you just demo it out.
Yeah. Actually, I may have one. Let's see. I should have one where I did the resume one.
So are you on the $20 a month plan?
I'm on the $20 a month plan. But it's definitely worth it.
Is there one above that one or no?
There isn't one above it. So right now, GTP4 is the only one that's available. So that's the one they released roughly about a month ago. But there's other platforms out there. I would highly recommend. There's a mobile app called Poe, P-O-E. I really like that one because it gives you access to multiple language models. Or that's really what ChatGPT is built on, is a big database of information where it's trained on language. So there's other people who have built things like ChatGPT. And so I like Poe because I'm a nerd, but also I like getting different options. So there's about 4 or 5 bigger, there's 4 other models that are as big as ChatGPT You have Google Bard, you have Claude, and you have forgetting the fourth one. But you have access to all of them there within inside the Poe app. And so what I'll do is I'll cut and paste my prompt into all of them and get different responses, and then cut and paste the ones I like. So I can cherry pick across different tools. POE, yeah, POE. So it's free for now. I think they're about to start charging. But it's definitely, it's really useful because it also has access to the internet, which ChatGPT only has up to 2021, 22. So with Poe, you are actually to make a request and be like, find me. I use it for research a lot of times. Like, help me find a code library that does particular things and give me a list of them, and give me a link to their GitHub repo. And so, yeah, that's the one, yeah. So that one's really good for like on the fly research when I need to just, I'm like out and I need to like quickly research something. And so Google should be terrified because I don't use Google as much anymore. I pretty much only use language models at this point to do research of any form because it's too much work to go and look at a list in Google. Cool, any other questions?
Can you generate, okay, I think you already did the lead journey. I wanted to ask you, generate something in Mid Journey and then turn it into a video.
Yeah, so you can generate not just prompts, but code itself. It does require with a little bit of coding background, you can work through the steps. Because there's limitations of how much you can get generated or how much you can stick into ChatGPT all at once, you have to kind of write the code in pieces. So the first prompt would be create a database for an app that does X, and it'll create the database schema. You're like, great. Now give me the instructions for adding this database